Surprise! How we doing tonight, folks? Yes, I was contemplating on whether or not I should do a live chat tonight. I was watching to see if any of my compatriots were thinking about doing a live. Normally I'm working Saturday nights, so I don't even know what some people do. I know sometimes Dark Corners has a live stream. Also, Terry Talks Movies sometimes do on Saturday. And usually I miss them all together because one's in the UK and one's in Australia. But I figure I could try to catch somebody's if they're doing theirs, and if not, I'll just do one of my own. I promised you more live chats, and I did. And Big Guy's 45 is in the house. Commiserations, Big Guy. I heard you lost 7 subs. Well, the happy time is over, I guess. World War II humor. Sorry. Oh, and not far behind, Corey's comedy channel. Yeehaw! Corey, thank you for joining us. I'm going to do this again later because a lot of people aren't even here to hear this. But if you haven't joined Corey's, you got to. Corey, that bit you did where it's the bad joke battle royale, I got to tell you, is it really cracked me up. It really. Let me guess. You do stuff like that to prepare yourself I'll come in again. If you ever have to deal with a heckler. Not that anyone would ever dream of heckling you, I'm sure. Zublik says, "Good evening to all and happy King's Day, Three Kings Day." I'm gonna have to put the glasses back on. I'm sorry, guys. Happy Three Kings Day, and a happy Three Kings Day to you, or at least a full house. Corey's Comedy Channel says, "You're the man. Love you, man. Love you too. The feeling is more than mutual, as we say in the trades." Big Guy says, "Guess what? Unsub Glitch is back. Now I'm going to get to 1K soon anymore." Oh, I'm not going to get to 1K soon anymore. I'm sure you are. You're a lot closer to 1K than I am, mon frere. Corey's Comedy Channel, I'm just going to call you Corey for the benefit of this, says, "You made my day." No, you made mine. You made mine. Again, you brightened my day with that bad joke battle. That was great. Lance Chambers in the house says, "Hi, Thrash." Yeah, Lance, told you I was going to go live today. Zuberplex says, hello, Lance. A lot of people having fellowship now. John Doe says, "Hello, everyone." Neutron John, great to see you. Georgia Erez, how you doing today, Georgia? You know you're always on my mind. And let's see, a lot of people having fellowship. My flock is everywhere. Oh my God, all my old friends are coming tonight. My flock, so glad you could make it. You have to check out My Flock. She has a lot of great stuff. For those of you who are interested in paranormal, particularly UFO related stuff, you got to check out her channel. She's got some great stuff going on. Oh, like the mug? My wife got this for me, by the way, as a little Christmas present. Also came with a book of dad jokes. Guess what I'm concocting in the not too distant future? Big Guy says, "I'm depressed. Honestly, it's not the subs, it's my damn life having to deal with social media and recharging up my phone every day. It's a hassle." I understand it can get be a grind, but you're putting out some great quality product. And remember, it's the art that's really important. Keithy says, "Can only send one message. I'm on the new computer that doesn't work. Good luck tonight. Great idea." Keith, I'm so glad you made it. The one message is more than enough. We know you'll be here in spirit. We're all breaking in new technology, I know, but I'm so glad you made it, man. By the way, and I heard that you were able to get in touch with Wajimeen, by the way. Good. I'm so glad you were able to contact there. Mike Silva is with us tonight. Wonderful. "I think my parents only get so offended by television because they rely on it as a babysitter and the sole educator of their kids." Kyle. Really? I figure the TV seems to be waning. Now it's the PC and the cell phone. But to own their each. Oh, my flock says, "Thanks, Pawns," and thank you. Mr. Led says, "Hey, Thrash and gang, just have to give you a like and a later listen. Away visiting with family tonight. Have fun. You do you. Say hi to Mrs. Letty for us, all the Ledites, and all the extended depleting uraniums. Please do. Please do." My Flock has given us a link, by the way, to her channel. Yes, everyone feel free to partake. Mike Silva says, "Hi guys, watching Pluto TV for Mac and me. Going to have nightmares tonight. Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine." Gary Carpenter is in the house and says, "Hi there," or "Hiya there," specifically. And Gary, so glad you could join us. So glad you could join us tonight. Skipping down, Georgia says, Yay, you got my last name right. It only took how many months slash years? I had Arez stuck in my head, which is a cool name, but it's not your name. I'm sorry. Arez is right. I had Ayers, which is cool, but Arez is going to be the way I pronounce it from now on. Let's just see what else we got here. Lublick says Lancelot likes to dance a lot. That's from the old many things, but specifically I Love Lucy, I believe. Tom Lemery says, "Hi everyone." Tom, hey to you. So glad you could make it. This was such a last minute thing. I'm so glad so many of you could make it. We're up to 13. That's like 2/3 of my regulars by my calculations. Mike Silva says, "Pawns, it's a South Park episode." Yeah, I noticed with the Kyle reference, so I kind of figured. But I'm just it's funny how times have changed in such a short span of time. When I was a kid, the TV was the babysitter, but now it's social media and whatnot. When I was a kid, I always thought, I go, it's weird, like my grandparents always would say, "In my day, in my day, in my day," and then I won't have the chance to say that because everything's been invented. Well. John Doe says, "Hey Thresh, if you remember the situation I emailed you about, it didn't pan out, and now my cat has to go to the vet." Oh, I'm so sorry, John. You have had such a hard time as late, and I'm just pulling for you. You've had a heavy bear to cross lately, and again, we're all pulling for you. I'm sending you positive vibes, bro. I hope things eventually stabilize. Good luck. Hopefully, 23 will be your year. Big guy says, "I've been sleeping more often than I probably should." Hey, maybe you need the rest. God knows I do. I can't remember a time when I wasn't tired. Corey says, "Come on, guys, hit the like button for Thrash." Yes, yes. Oh, and by the way, I'm at 211 subs, by the way, which is an improvement. I think I've got up 5 or 6 this week. 'Cause remember, I lost a couple. So hopefully, if I repeat the process a couple dozen times, we'll really have something. Mike Silva says it's a disturbing movie, Pawns. Mike, Mac and me? I haven't seen it in years. I'll take your word for it. Gary Carpenter says, "Thank you, sir." No, thank you, sir. Ken Wilkinson says, "Good evening, Bob." Ken, good evening to you. So glad you could make it. Mike Silva says, I'm assuming he means, "May I have another?" Thank you, sir. May I have another? Boy, do I remember that from college days. Moving forward. Big Guy says, "I'm not in a positive mood. I'm sorry." Big Guys, I'm going to do everything I can to try to change that mood. Trust me. Trust me. I know what it's like to be in a downward slump. Had a couple headaches this week. I applied for my unemployment benefits, but I had to do it online and they have to review it. And I know I missed something, which means I'm going to have to go over it with somebody. So it's going to take another week or two. By the time the benefits kick in, I'll probably be back at work. My wife's car broke down. It was a ball joint or a pivot joint or a ballpoint pen or a Bic banana, something to do with her suspension. Had to have it towed to the next town over where our mechanics are. Great bunch of guys had it fixed in no time to the tune of $500. Um, had a tough week. Uh, I didn't have to work this week. I thought it'd be a nice, relaxing week. It'll be like a vacation. And I'm not dumping on you guys, but I'm just letting you know things are kind of tough all over. I'm doing everything I can to sort of revitalize the vibes and put everyone back in a happy mood. Remember in Animal House, I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can. Moving forward. Mike Silva says, "I'm not fat. I jumped off the page. Hang on, I'm gonna go back to see where I left. Oh, how can I be this far back already? Huh. Well, it's because of all your excellent uh, additions and interaction and participation. So I can't be that surprised when I go off the rails that you guys will go on without me. But anyway, what Mike Silva said was, "Oh, I'm not fat. I'm festively plump. Cartman's drugs are bad. Okay, Mister Okay." What else we got going on here? And yes, that too was from South Park. Gary Carpenter says, "Big guy, what's wrong, buddy?" I'll let a big guy. The big problem is there's some glitch on YouTube, and it keeps costing him subs, and it's discouraging because he puts out such great content. He really busts his chops putting out good stuff, and when you work really really hard, you end up losing some subs, particularly to a glitch. Not even for people dropping out. It kind of breaks your heart. Hey, anyone of you guys who haven't subscribed to Big Guys, please do, please do. Let's see what else is going on here. Oh, my flock says shared you out. Yes, my flock. Please feel free to um, sing my praises than that of our fellowships here. By the way, we could all use a few more subscribers. Anything you can do to increase our subscriber count would be more than grateful for. Number one dude is here with us. Hey, number one dude, how's it going? Says Happy New Year's, Thrash, and Happy New Year's to you as well. Mike Chafin. Why did I say Mike Chafin? Lance Chafin. Oh, I see why. Because the screen just jumped. The name Mike was there. Lance Chafin says liked the Hitcher series on HBO. Very creepy intro. I loved the Hitcher. And the framing device is great. It's the guy with the backpack wandering through the desert, just another lost soul. And each week he would bring you another story. Personal favorite, probably OD Feeling. And I'm not even going to tell you about it. Check out OD Feeling. It's the perfect 80s fable. It's on YouTube. Oh, one other thing, by the way, there's a guy. He may or may not be here tonight. I don't know. He's a friend of the channel. His name is Spooky Creepy J. If he's here, we'll send you a link. If not, find him. His name's Spooky Creepy J. You can find that. I mean, after all, I can't do everything for you. Check him out. He does retrospects on old vintage horror anthology TV series, and they're amazing. Check out Spooky Creepy J if you get a chance. Lance, you'll probably really like it if you like The Hitchhiker. He's done a number of those. Let's see. A lot of people having fellowship with each other. A lot of people commiserating with Mr. Big Guy. Pat is in the house, says popping in to say hi. Thank you so much for stopping by, Pat, by the way. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, I've taken the liberty. I've been sharing a number of your posts on Facebook, particularly the ones that plug podcasts and events you got coming up, by the way. So hopefully that throws you a few more viewers your way. Big Guy says Thrash is Jack Black's brother. Fact. I've gotten that a few times actually. Thank you. It would have to be a much older brother, but I have gotten that. Peter Jackson's another one. I get that a lot too, by the way. And Zach Galifianakis. I get that. A few I really don't see, but Zach Galifianakis even I see, and Peter Jackson. Zublik says T Pons. Were there a lot of drunks at the bar on New Year's Eve? We closed at we closed early that night. I think we closed at 8 o'clock. So no, a few people had a few warm up drinks, but we didn't do the ball drop. We're just a restaurant. We do have a bar, but we didn't stay open for the duration. And it looks like I'm glitching, by the way. If I continue, let me know. Pat says, "Hey, my friends, for that's what friends are for, isn't it?" Mike Chafin says, "Mike." Why does I keep saying Mike Chafin? It's Mike Silva and Lance Chafin. Mike Silva says, "Lance, for the love of God, creepy puppets. I don't know if there were creepy puppets in The Hitcher, but I've seen creepy puppets in a lot of things. Number one dude says I remember applying for unemployment. Uh, there's more to it. And you disappeared. But I'm going to finish that if it. Oh yeah, didn't get it. Holy cow! I'm sorry you didn't get it. Well, in this case, it's actually a layoff. I didn't quit or I wasn't terminated. The business is temporarily closing for renovations, so it shouldn't be a problem. Although I'm always afraid when I fill out things online, it misses something, and then you gotta re-review it. In the good old days, you just went to somebody and they'd be like, "Okay, here you go." Because you were unemployed, T-Pones. Only temporarily. The restaurant I work in closed for renovations. They're redoing the kitchen. The kitchen's old. It's going to be really, really nice and new, modern, even. Looking forward to it. But it's going to take about a month. So I'm going to be unemployed for that month. And as a result of which, I am applying for unemployment. And since it's a layoff situation, um, I should get it because it wasn't that I quit and was not terminated. The Saxon says, "What is this?" Well, so far it's just a bunch of people chatting with each other. But here, let me give you a quick rundown. We do retro live chats. We talk about old school Gen X movies, music, TV shows, fun stuff like that. And a second ago, we were talking about The Hitcher because we have a thing for sci-fi horror anthology series. But we're a pretty dedicated group of friends here, so we spend a lot of time chatting amongst ourselves. So if you're into old retro entertainment, feel free to throw in a topic, and please, please, please like and or subscribe. You know what? Both. Pat says Thrash knows what brake fluid tastes like. That's actually a line. That's a line actually from The Beast, a movie about the Afghan War. Mike Silva says, Bert Wilson, I thought you said if we destroyed the brain, it died. Frank, it worked in the movies. Bert Wilson, well, it ain't working now. Frank, Freddie, you mean the movie lied? You're supposed to hit the brain. I hit the beeping brain. Return of the Living Dead, one of my favorite zombie movies. Zubik says, does that have to do with zombies, Mike? Yes, as I just said. So sometimes I read the answer after I've answered it. I'm going to skip down here. John Doe, only 9 thumbs I see? I see 12 for 12. We had 13 people, so I'm thinking somebody had to drop out. But a lot of people said they were just here. Uh, for a moment or two. Pat says someone is missing here. Can anyone guess? Barry, Dave, Dan, any of those folks. Hopefully, will join very, 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 very soon. Uh, Pat says nope. Zoop. Oh, Emily, Emily. Yes, Emily's not here yet. Oh, yeah. Hopefully, she does join us again. This was a surprise live chat, but again, I post on Facebook too, so hopefully she gets it. Oh, and Kenneth brings up a good point. Cindy D is also not present. Yeah, a lot of the regulars aren't here just as yet. John Doe says Hasselhoff movie. You mean the SpongeBob movie? uh, A big guy says, was at 9:53. Now I'm down to 9:46. I'm at 2:11. so, so yeah, that's kind of a heartbreaker. A lot of people banking on who the next regular to show up is going to be. Gary Carver says, Thrash, you look more like Wolfman Jack. Yeah, I grew the beard out, aren't I? Mike, how did I jump again? I was already caught up. Anyway, Mike Silva said something. I'm gonna find it if it kills me. Donna, Wade, there's something I want to tell you about last night. Well, the old lady, Chaz, he didn't translate everything that she said. Wade, parent, what do you mean? There's a bell ringing in my head, but I don't think I have all the pieces yet. Give me a hint later on in the You chat. Zuplex says maybe because of past experiences at the bar. No, we've never had too many bad experiences at the bar in the restaurant I'm working at now. Some of the older restaurants, yes, but not the ones now. Let's just see. Pat says polls closed. Lance James says, "Okay, Pat, who is it?" John Doe says, "Instead of having the ball drop on New Year's Eve in the bar, you could replace it by tipping over a drunkard. That would work too." Gary Carpenter says, "Thrasher, if we all can get together, we should have a party at your bar." It's going to be a long drive for some of you. A lot of you people are in California or even out of the country. Um, Pat says, "Message retracted." Oh, that was mean. He told us who was missing and then retracted the message. Zublik says, then they will replace T-Pawns with a robot like in Japan. A robot will never, ever, ever be as good as a bartender as a human. I know I'm having a John Henry moment. Mike Silva says, Gary, have you seen Lancelot Secret Chimp? I used to watch that with my father when I was little bits, little itty bitties. Number one dude says the Hitcher movie from the 80s is great. Oh, the one with Rutger Hauer. Oh, I love that one. I love that one. Keith E says yogurt, yogurt, yogurt. In case John missed saying it, okay, I'm back and can talk. I fired up the old computer. Hello, everyone. Yogurt, yogurt, yogurt. In case John missed saying it, yogurt, yogurt, yogurt. I made it out of sour cream. Let's just see. Oh, I skipped again. Holy cow! You know what? The Hungry Jerk isn't here. Did I not tell the Hungry Jerk we had a live chat tonight? Pat says, love you all. It's kickoff for us, Titan enthusiasts signing off. Love you guys. Pat, thank you so much for dropping by tonight. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, as you've probably deduced. Take care of yourself. Let's just see. Mike Silva asks if I've seen the unwatchable Super Mario's movie. Couldn't get through it. I tried, could not get through it. Have I caught up yet? I think I've caught up. Oh yeah, a lot of people having fellowship. A lot of people talking football. Bobby Renee is here. He says, hi, host. That's me. With the most and the rest of your best fans. Yes, you're the best of the rest. That does not hold water. Well, we're going to go with it. A lot of people saying hi to Bobby. Yeah, Bobby's here. I'm going to do something really gauche. While I'm talking, number dude says, Thrash, it's snowing out east in your area? Not here. Not here. It was raining a little while ago, earlier. Out near Worcester, the central part of the state, it was snowing earlier. But it's not snowing here, by the way. It's actually unseasonably warm. It's like 40 degrees here. Guys, I'm just going to send Mr. Tom here a text. I'm saying going live. Just so he knows. Because I don't want him to think we forgot about him. I don't know. I can't believe he texted me earlier, and I meant to get back to him, and I didn't get back to him. So I know it's super unprofessional for anyone in hospitality to go on their phone while they're dealing with their guests, but it's for the sake of another guest. So I hope you all forgive. Let's see. I'm gonna pick it up here. Yeah, Gary Carpenter says HJ is MIA. Yeah, because I think I forgot to text him. A lot of people having fellowship. Mike Silva says watching Pluto TV for Invaders from Mars movie from the 50s. Seen both, like both. I think the one for the 50s is the better of the two. Gary Carpenter says Daryl Johnson is also MIA. Yes, he is. Now that you mention it, but like I said, this was like a surprise live chat thing, so I think a lot of people didn't know we were doing it. So hopefully, some more people kick in. Gary Carpenter says not here in North Carolina either. I'm assuming you mean snow. Yeah, you guys don't tend not to get too much snow in North Carolina. Number dude says Thrash, you're a great host, man. Well, you're a great guest. You guys are all great guests. John Doe says, Thresh, did you ever see the Beverly Hillbillies movies? If so, what's your take? Um, I don't think it quite captured the show. They really tried. I thought the individual characters did a pretty competent job, but I think the Hillbillies were like so many shows at that time. They were never meant to be feature length. It was meant to be digested in these like 20-minute bits. So to have like a running storyline for like 105 minutes was just a little too much. I remember it thinking it had its moments. I certainly see where they were going with it. Ziblik says Hungry Jerk is also neighbors with a lot of celebrities. Yes, I know he's met a ton of them. Number one dude says, "Where are you at, ENC?" ENC's been very, very busy lately, particularly on weekends. He was available for Monday's live chats again, which is very nice. And he and I did a show this past Thursday on SNL, which he's probably going to be airing. I'm guessing tomorrow, maybe Monday morning. But he's still in the game. Don't you worry, you. Uh, Gary Carpenter says, "I've not seen the remake yet." Mike Silva says, John, the TV series was better. It usually is. Keith E says, don't you think Hungry would be working on his new job? I thought he said he was off tonight in the last text I got, but I could be wrong. But anyway, at least he knows that I'm going live. Now, Mike Silva says, I can't take the movie Teenagers from Outer Space. I love the MST3K version of that. Lance Javen says, or Terrell MIA. Yes, Teb is also MIA. Zublik says, isn't Hungry Jerk in the catering business, Keith? No, he has a new job now. He works at an Italian restaurant and is concerned he's going to put on like 40 pounds. Bobby Renee says, host, me. Imagine begging of the Star Wars, but instead of the Renegade Runner, it's the Enterprise. Huh. A lot of people have done the Star Wars versus Star Trek thing. Huh. It'd be tricky because, well, it'd be fun to find out, but I'm not going to take sides. Mike Silva says Star Wars Holiday Special movie, Bobby. Gary Carpenter Z is a lucky stiff. Bobby Renee says Tubi is great. It certainly is. Keith E says his new job is in an Italian restaurant. Yes, it sure is. Number one dude says SNL from ENC is already out. I got to check it out. I haven't seen it yet. I thought he said he wasn't posting it till today. So I'll have to check it out myself, actually. See what I said. Let's see. Superlink says I like lasagna. Corey says, speaking of movies, Thresh, did you ever see the movie Hot Tub Time Machine? It's one of my favorites. I haven't seen Hot Tub Time Machine. I saw when I was used to work the overnight shift. I caught part of it and loved it, but it was only a small section. I saw it out of context. They were doing it as a double feature with that Apocalypse movie, where it's actual celebrities playing the actual celebrities themselves in a post-apocalyptic Hollywood. Forget the name of it, but it was pretty good. It almost wasn't even a comedy. It was almost like a sort of a dark horror film, but dark comedy, I guess is the best way to go with that. But I must see Hot Tub Time Machine. Tom Lemery says, saw a little of your conversation about SNL with ENC. Good. Yeah, apparently it is out. Mike Silva says, Corey, ever see Kentucky Fried Movie? I love Kentucky Fried Movie. Kentucky Fried Movie is so much fun. I also like Amazon Women on the Moon, but I think Kentucky Fried Movie is gooder. There was another one called The Groove Tube, I think it was. That's also pretty good. Keith E says Ian's video was up last night on Patreon and up to date on SNL regular YouTube. Oh, cool. Bobby Renee says, any ladies here? Yes, Georgia Irez is here. Now that I can pronounce her name right. I haven't seen her in a while, but she is here. And that's a lady. She's a lady. Whoa. She's a lady. Sorry. I know. Everybody misses Tracy and Emily. I know. I miss them myself, actually. John Doe says, I have something worse than Star Wars Holiday Special. I have Superman the Musical. Ugh. Lance Craven says Mike or Amazon Women on the Moon. Yes, I love Amazon Women on the Moon. Gary Carter says, "What do you think about Critters? Haven't seen that movie in years, but I think I thought I liked it." Bobby Renee says Sand Shark was terrible. I don't recall Sand Shark. I remember Land Shark on SNL. Mike Silva says Land's funniest movie ever made. I loved it myself, actually. Tom Lemery says message retracted, and a message retracted to you. Corey's Comedy Central says, "Hey Mike, I've never seen Kentucky Fried Movie. I'll have to check it out. Yes, please do. It's very, very a little dated, but it's very, very funny." Big Guys 45 says, "Good night, folks. Battery's just about to die." Big Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry in a bad way. Hopefully things turn around very, very soon. And come back and look forward to seeing you very, very, very soon. And again, I'll keep plugging to make sure people join. Number one dude says, "Sing it, Thrash. Thrash." Mike Silva says, "Love the Group Tube. Funniest scene was the clown guy." That is one of the funniest bits in movie history. It's so sick and wrong, but it's one of the funniest bits ever in movie history. Yes. Well, that and when Chevy Chase is doing "I'm looking over my dead dog Rover." Well, he's looking over for the Clover. Dead Dog Rover is a different song. Same melody, though. A lot of people talking about. Oh, yes. Zuplik says, "I haven't seen the Groove Tube in years. It's a great movie, isn't it?" Mike Silva says, "Yes, it's a great film." John Doe says, "Avalanche Shark is pretty bad." Someone was talking about that, but I haven't seen Avalanche Shark. Wajimeen is in the house. Wajimeen, hello everyone. Wajimeen, I'm so glad you were able to do the reach out to Keith. He was telling me earlier that he got the link, so you guys are linked. Danny Staten, oh my gosh, we were just talking about you. Greetings, Danny. So glad you got the message. This was like a totally impromptu live chat, and I'm so glad you're here. Zublik says Groove Tube was an underground film like Tunnel Vision. Yeah, I knew that. It was considered an adult film actually for a while. Danny Staten says, "Didn't know you were going on." Yeah, I put out a on my on my community page. I put out a post, but again, this was all done last minute. So don't think a lot of people. We've decided like Tracy's not here, Emily's not here, Daryl's not here, Tab's not here. So yeah, a lot of people sadly didn't get the message. I promise from now on I'll give more warning. Warning. I don't think I got my channel page up until probably 8 o'clock. Oh, 7:30 ish. Les Javen says Chevy Chase and Fletch. He certainly was. At the first, I love the first one. The next one wasn't too bad, but I love the first one. Les Javen says, "What's up, dude?" I thought you were going to say, "What's up, Doc?" That's another movie that I think is very, very funny with Barbara Streisand. Dennis Kitten says, "I had company, wasn't online anyway." By the way, Dan, seriously, 2,500 buckaroos for an English bulldog. I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful puppy, but wow, 2,500. I'm like, wow, it's a beautiful dog. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed to Dan, check out. He was showing shots of this English bulldog puppy that was going for 2,500 bucks. Great. I'm in the wrong line of work. I should breed dogs. Hey. John Doe says two-headed shark attacks, three-headed shark attacks, five-headed shark attacks, six-headed shark attacks. Are really horrible unless you like that kind of stuff. Then it's funny. Well stated. Gary Carter says, "What do you think about Invasion of the Net 2 Men?" Wasn't Sonny Chiba in that? I always get that one. That one. There's like two Japanese kid show sci-fi movies that I always get mixed up. So bear with me. I got that one mixed up with another one. Zublik says, "T-Pons, did you ever catch Chevy Chase on SNL?" Yes, in reruns. When it was first run, I was too young to watch it at 11 o'clock. I was too young to stay up that late. But Bobby Renee says, "Host me." No, spontaneity is okay. We love you. Oh, thank you. The feeling is mutual. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are great. Uh, let's give it this. Can I borrow your towel? My car just did a water buffalo. That's from Fletch One. Number two says Superplex, wasn't he in the weekly news? I believe he was. Corey says, good to see you, Danny. And what you mean? Thanks for your support. You guys are awesome. Couldn't agree with you more. Oh, Danny has shared a link to Corey's comedy. Excellent. Thank you very much. Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier, actually. Oh, and speaking of which, Danny, before I decided to go live, you know what I was going to do? Oh, I've already put it back in the protective case. But I was going to do a wretched recap. And guess what I was going to do? Because like people saying they like to see more content as well. And I was going to do it on that Dark Shadows comic book you gave me. Because I read it and I go, this would actually really, really work. So, folks up there, be prepared for another one of my wretched recaps on Dark Shadows, Gold Key comic. Keithy says Danny had a video about the Undertaker when, in fact, the Undertaker is the mayor of Knoxville County, next door here in Tennessee. The Undertaker's a mayor now? Who's the sheriff? Mankind? John Doe says, remember Johnny Sacco? Johnny Sacco, Giant Robot? Of course I remember Johnny Sacco, Giant Robot. In fact, I was actually talking with somebody, oh, this had to be a couple years ago now, but they showed the final scene where Giant Robo grabs the Emperor and sails into a comet and sacrifices himself to save everyone. And I'm like, why do I have a tear in my eye? I got sad again. I was an 11-year-old again all of a sudden. But yes, of course, I remember Johnny Suckle, Giant Robot. Zublick says Chevy Chase always did the opening live. New York, it's Saturday night. Yes, and he fell for years because we were always making fun of President Gerald Ford, who he only fell twice, but for some reason the press got a hold of it, so they was making fun of him for being a klutz. And so for a year, Chevy Chase, before he would say live from New York, he would deliberately fall. Gary Carpenter says, what do you think about Battle Beyond the Stars? I love Battle Beyond the Stars. And in fact, two things. One, I love Battle Beyond the Stars because it's one of my three favorite remakes of Seven Samurai. Magnificent Seven being one, Bug's Life another one, and Battle Beyond the Stars. I want to do my own remake. If I ever get like a studio and get a budget and can make a movie, I want to do a remake of Seven Samurai. But here's the twist: it's going to be set in World War II, and it's a village in eastern Russia that is being extorted for supplies by Red Army partisans, not regulars, partisans. And to keep from starving to death, they gather up a bunch of deserters, 7 of them, to form a fighting force to defend their village. And here's the twist: because there's a bridge that has to be blown up over the course of the drama, they find one who's a demolition expert, and he's a German deserter. And they have to decide whether they're going to trust him or not because Germans weren't really popular in Eastern Europe during World War II. That is my premise. What do you folks think about it? Say in the comments below. And before we get too far down that road, I want to say R.I.P. Mr. Bowen. Died at 81 years old. He played Nestor in Battle Beyond the Stars. Probably best known for playing the criminal uh, psychologist in the Terminator movies. But yeah, he died. Robert Patrick just did a very nice eulogy for him. So in answer to your question, Gary, yes, I liked Battle Beyond the Stars. But Mike Silva says it was a terrible movie. So yeah, can't please everyone now, can you? I seem to have gotten a little behind, so I'm going to try to catch up. Lance Javen says, "Welcome to the news. I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not." That was another one of his running jokes. Chevy Chase was the king of the running gag. And I'm gonna skip a couple people just because I saw Dave Sundstrom is in the house. Says Star Crash with Marilyn Monroe. I'm not even sure what context that's in, Dave, but yes, love Star Crash and I love Carolyn Monroe. But thank you so much for joining us. This was a completely impromptu surprise live chat. And a lot of people didn't get the message, I'm afraid, but the fact that you did and you decided to pop in and say hi means the world to me. Thank you for joining us. I'm just going to see if I can catch up with the people who I skipped here. Let's see. John Doe Dave coming here live is like Norm walking in Shears. I know we're like, Dave! Keith says, okay, I understand. They mentioned The Undertaker. I'm just confused. Don't take me a hole and throw me in it. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. Bob Renee says, Mr. Bill, no! Azubik says, isn't Kane not related to The Undertaker? I'm not sure. I know my daughter loved both of them when she was into wrestling. Mike Silva says, the robot monster. I love the robot monster with his bubble machine killing device. Oh, Kane is the mayor, not the Undertaker. Now I get it. I get it. It's what happens when you read comments backwards. Oh yeah, Denny says no, not the Undertaker. It's Kane. He's the mayor. Glenn Jacobs, trust me, I know. John Doe says worst movie ever made was Things. I don't think I saw that one. Talk about things. Da 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 da. Things. Da 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 da. Things. And, I think I'm actually caught up. Oh, Paul Bearer is Paul Bearer? I thought Paul Bearer is dead. But anyway, now that I've caught up, I'm going to see if I can pick up where I left off. And here we are. Lance James says, "Welcome to Mr. Robinson's neighborhood." Mike says, "Dave, you should watch Return of the Living Dead." We were just talking about that one, weren't we? Corey says, "Thrash, are you going to watch Hot Tub Time Machine? Then go back into the '80s. It's a pretty good movie, very funny." I am going to watch Hot Tub Time Machine. I've been meaning to, but now that we've talked about it, I'm definitely going to. Dave says, "Nice surprise tonight." Thank you so much, Dave. Glad you could make it. Dave Sundstrom says, I've seen Return of the Living Dead. I was just thinking about that movie the other night, too, by the way. I'd love to do a watch along, but I'm sure you two would pull it. Bobby Renee says, Mr. Sundstrom, thanks for inviting host to your live streams. Dave is the greatest, isn't he? Mike Silva says, not since the 70s classic movie, The Car. I saw the movie years ago, I think on the Sci-Fi Channel. Keithy says, Dave, sunny side of the street, Strom. Couldn't have said it better myself. Corey says, love Chevy Chase. Who doesn't? As an entertainer. As a person, opinion is divided. Gary Carpenter says, Spaceballs. Very, very funny movie. Very funny movie. Zubik says, it would not be credible T-Pawns. The USSR was under the most extreme form of police state under Stalin. Such initiatives were unheard of back then. Well, it's high fantasy. I mean, it would be sort of a Leone-esque situation, much like his movie, the movie he died in pre-production, Leningrad. Like his movies set in the Old West. That's not what the Old West was like. I mean, there were similarities, but he took great liberties with some of the actual day-to-day operations. There were, in addition to the Red Army, there were partisans that sort of operated outside the military sphere, and it wasn't uncommon for villagers to have supplies commandeered, requisitioned from them, as it were. And I'm sure no one would ever dream of doing something so unpatriotic as to fighting back. But again, we're talking high fantasy. I'm taking what's basically a Japanese legend and superimposing it into a mock World War II. You're right. In reality, that could never happen. But again, great filmmakers take certain liberties. My other high concept idea is a retelling of The Wizard of Oz, only post apocalyptic, where uh, Dorothy is living with her aunt and uncle in some type of post apocalyptic bunker. They get raided. She runs off and she meets a scarecrow, a guy who's in the last stage of starvation, so he's very thin. A man who's been living in the woods so long he's kind of gone feral, the lion. He also has PTSD, hence the cowardly part. And a former cop, the Tin Man. And they go to try to find the Emerald City, which is just a place where people are still kind of making it, sort of like Over the Hill and a Boy and His Dog. Oh, and she has a very vicious dog as her protector. Again, what do you think? Comments below. But Zoomplex, thank you for your input. You are in fact correct. Mike Silva says special bulletin movie. Oh, I saw that one. Very sad. It's up there with a War Game, the English movie. Let's give it says, "Hey, Porky's is a good one. I like the first one. It's adolescent humor, but I was an adolescent when it came out. I think I'm behind again. I'm going to try to catch up. Oh, I actually wasn't that far behind, or was I? Well, here, let me just. I'm going to skip to where I thought I left off, which is right about here. Yeah, here. And let's see. Mike Silva says even more worse than the unwatchable classic movie Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Ooh, that's pretty unwatchable. Lance Javen says Kim Cattrall was in Porky's. I did not know that. I did not know that. John Doe says Steve Martin killed King Tut. He certainly did. Mike Silva says, Gary, ever see the movie Plan 9 from Outer Space? Oh, I'm sure he has. Who that's a goodie. That's a goodie. Zublik says, never mentioned Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. It brings up terrible memories in the unapologetic universe. I know he was trying to do the watch along. And yeah, we all know what happened there. Lance Javen says, or My Tutor. I remember My Tutor. Kind of a naughty movie when I was a kid. John Doe says The Car and Killdozer good double feature. That would really be a good double feature. Les Javen says, dude, she was in Police Academy 2. That's right, she was, wasn't she? Kevin Scott 76. Kevin Scott 76. How you doing? Hello from Rocket City. Just tested positive for COVID again. Oh, dude. Mr. Kevin Scott, I am so sorry. We were just wondering, actually. We haven't seen you in a while. So glad you stopped by. Take care of yourself, my man. Be safe. Be careful. I'm very, very sorry. You've had it more than once, huh? Commiserations, my lad. Tracy Ross Myers in the house says, hi, guys. We were so sad you couldn't make it. Hopefully, Emily will join us too. But everyone was so upset because this was, as you know, a surprise impromptu live chat. And I only posted the come on down about half an hour before I went on, and a lot of people, I guess, didn't get the message. I'm so glad you did. We've all missed you. So glad you're here. So far, we're just talking about old Gen X movies, usually uh, cult comedies, I guess would be the best way to comment on them. And Dave says, get well, Kevin. Yes, please do. Please do. Wajimino also says, get better soon. Tracy's in the house, yes. Bobby Renee says, Nerd Girl doing a live stream and face reveal on the 11th. She could be my crush. On the 11th, that's, holy cow. I'm looking at the wrong month. That's in 4 days. Thank you for mentioning Retro Nerd Girl. Guys, I can tell how many of your sci-fi buffs. You've got to subscribe to Retro Nerd Girl. She actually did a wonderful, wonderful post with Dave not too long ago. So if you're not familiar with it, go onto Dave's catalog and check out Retro Nerd Girl, the post she did with him, and then go check out her page. Some of the most comprehensive and entertaining sci-fi retrospects I've ever seen, even better than mine. Certainly more professional. Gary Cameron says Thrasher. It might work. Thank you. I'll take that for either one of my concepts, but thank you. Trey Meyer says, yeah, she just jumped off the face of the earth. I'm sorry. Trey Myers says, no, I'm going to find it if it kills me. One thing Dave says, gotta run. We'll catch the entire live stream on replay later. Take care, everyone. Dave, it was such a nice surprise having you join us, by the way. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm talking to you very, 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 very soon. Trader Meyer says, yes, I did, but I got zoomed by my old friends from back home. No problem. Glad you got here. That's all that really, really matters. And Zublik says the peasants in the USSR back then were completely quinscent, following the horrible repression of the Great Purge and the destruction of the kulaks. Again, yes, but this is sort of a quasi history. But again, you're right. It would take great liberties. It certainly wouldn't be accurate historically. I just thought it'd be an interesting concept. Lance Javen says, Dave, when's your next live stream? And Dave does say, not sure, Lance, probably not this week. I'm traveling. Oh, well, we'll be here when you get back. I'll keep the home fires burning, as it were. Look who is here. Darrell Johnson says, Bob! Darrell, so glad you could make it, brother. Sort of a spur of the moment thing tonight. In fact, I was saying earlier I was going to do a wretched recap, but I decided to go live instead. So I only posted this about a half an hour before I went live. So glad you could make up. A lot of people having fellowship with Darrell. Glad he's here. Tom is here. Tom, yeah, I actually broke away from the stream so I could text you. I remember I said I promised I would text you if I was going live so you would know. And this was impromptu, so I forgot I didn't have a chance. I'm like, I gotta tell Tom I'm here. So glad you could make it. How's the new job treating you, man? And let's just see. I think I'm going to catch up, and then yes, okay. A lot of people having fellowship, saying hi to Georgia. Lance Javen says Heather Thomas and Zapped. I'm not even sure what the context is, but I'm in. And Daryl Jones says, if it wasn't for Lance, I would have never known. Thanks, Lance. Lance, thank you so much. Did you let him know on Facebook? Lance is great. Lance is always on Facebook, by the way. He's always great for an instant message, by the way. So thank you for letting Darrell know. Now, so far we've been having a lot of fun with these like retro 80s movies topics. And as we've discussed on several occasions, there have been a lot of reboots lately. Now, the reboots have been very unimaginative for the most part. So, if you had a chance of actually rebooting a classic 80s movie, or you know what, even the movie from before, but we'll try to stick to the 80s, but do it as like total high concept. And I don't care what the concept is. If you want to do, I don't know, Ridgemont High as a space opera. What 80s movie would you do as a reboot if you could go off the wall with it? Let's have that be our topic for today. Unless you can think of something better. If you can think of something better, let me see in the comments. I keep saying in the comments below. It's comments along the side. And I'm already getting behind again because I've been pontificating. Zublik says, one Scott Baio and Zapped, he certainly was. Not nearly as cute, though. Tom says, good, getting fat, cooking Italian food. Same page club. And I don't even cook the food. One little grease fire. They don't eat in the kitchen anymore. Trailer of Mario says, Trilogy of Terror was my 70s movie. I laughed so hard at the Zuni Warrior doll. That actually, the first time I saw that, I think I was like 12 or 13. I actually scared the BGs out of me. You're much braver than I am. Mike Silva says, Tracy, not Mac and Me movie. It's unwatchable, disturbing, and creepy. Mike Silva says, Gary, watch the MST3K version instead. Zubik says, The Year of Moving Dangerously, T-Pawns. You want to remake that? Okay, what political crisis would you use? There's a couple we could work with. Love that movie. I love that movie. Gary Carpenter says, Remember the Towering Inferno? Yes, and that could actually be done high concept. Trathos Myers says, So bad I thought it was so great. Gary Carpenter says, Earthquake. A lot of Irwin Allen on the table tonight. Number one dude says, Howard the Duck as a musical. I am in. You know, Howard the Duck is one of the biggest commercial disappointments in cinema history, right? But the comic book was great. You could actually try it again. The Hollywood won't because it's like a pariah. But you could actually, if you have enough material, you could actually try to make a good movie out of it and probably get one. Mike Silva says, Tracy, creepy puppets, creepy. We're still in the creepy puppets. Yes, of course. I keep forgetting about the creepy puppets. Gary Garber says, "Dude, Howard the Duck." Yeah, the actual one that came out was pretty terrible. Yes, Lance Javen says remake Megaforce as a bad action movie. Okay, why not? Number one dude says Rain Man is an action movie. Love it, love it. Where he's like Baby Driver. Yeah, why not? Why not? Gary Garber says I like Street Fighter. Number one dude says Mike Silva. What do you mean? Good '80s. Lucasfilm, I believe. Mike Silva says Gary Megaforce movie is hilarious on Riff Tracks. I haven't seen it on Riff Tracks. I bet it is. Zubik says Jim Kata. John Doe says I need to rewatch The Black Hole. Haven't seen it since I was 6 or 7. I was just thinking about that movie today. Actually, believe it or not, I was just thinking about that movie. I haven't seen that movie. Well, I saw it when it came out when I was like 12 or 13, and fell in love with it. Then I saw it again like when I was in film school, and great movie. Wasn't as great as I remembered, but it's just such a fun, high concept film. I would love to see it again. And the scene with it, like the robot where I can't remember the names of the robots. One's voiced by Slim Pickens, and he's dying, and the other one is voiced by Roddy McDowell, and he's like trying to comfort him, and it's actually really touching considering it's between robots. So yeah, I've got to see The Black Hole too again. I think I haven't seen it in ages. Fair Third Miner says, "LOL, Howard the Duck." Lance Javen says, "American Ninja." I remember liking American Ninja if I remember correctly. Mike Silva says, "Number one dude, watch the '80s movie Night of the Demons." Yes, Mystery Man and Monsters says, "Gotta go. Bye and have a good night." Mystery Man and Monsters, I am so sorry. I hadn't even known you joined us. Thank you so much for popping in. Take care. I'm sorry I didn't see you pop in. Forgive me for missing you. Uh, Kevin Scott 76 says heavy metal could have gone on like gangbusters. Zublik says, how about as far as disaster is concerned, Ishtar? Ugh. Again, you want to talk movies that Mr. Man Monster says, Thresh, your post apocalyptic Oz movie needs to include Sean Connery as a red Baratkini. The from Zardos. Yes. And again, I am so sorry. I didn't even see you pop in. But I'm looking to see where you came in and said, actually, that may have been your first concept. Either way, thank you so much for joining us and take care, man. Now I have to catch up to where I was. And I think I overshot. There we are. I'm going to. Oh, Zuplik says Warren Beatty Reds. You want to make Reds? Make it longer? I remember I went over to my mother's for dinner one night, and I told her, my wife and I, we had to work the next day, so we couldn't stay late. And she goes, "Well, do you want to watch a movie after we have dinner?" And I go, "A short movie, that'd be nice." And she goes, "How about Reds?" Um, it's a great movie. I'll give it that much. John Carpenter's The Thing is a comedy. Lance, really? uh, Denny Staten says Old Bob. Yes, Old Bob. Corey says Thrash. I gotta run. If I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture. Good night and keep smiling. I will do what I can. I think I'm caught up now. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, of course. Uh, yeah, I'm caught up. Tom says, "Crap, I don't have one. Get my address from T Pawns." Um, okay. Uh, does anybody remember photo novels? No, Tracy, I don't remember photo novels. Zublik says Reds is a 3 hour movie. Reds was actually the extended version, the director's cut, as you would say, is 4.5 hours long. Well, like 4 hours, 20 minutes and change. It was at one time, I don't know if it still is, at one time, it was the longest English language film ever produced. Bobby Renee says message retracted, and a message retracted to you as well. Osbourne says After Hours by Martin Scorsese. That was a sleeper. I remember like seeing that in the theaters, and I loved it. But everyone I talked to said, "Oh my god, I had that movie. It sucked." Blah blah blah. I go, really? I liked it. John Doe says Firebird 2015 as a fish out of water flick. That's the post-apocalyptic film, isn't it? Yeah. Aren't all post-apocalyptic films fish out of water? Keith E says I was in a rehab in Delaware. A 98-year-old woman watched Titanic every day, so I sat in there one day and watched it with her. She turned to me and said, "Are you embarrassed yet?" Wow. Lance Jamin says Rush Hour, the romantic comedy. Bob Rennie says Return of the Jedi as an opera. You know, and I am not making this up. I am not making this up. Brian Wilson Addis. Sorry, Tim. Brian Wilson Aldis, my favorite writer of all time, um, got a hold of the concept space opera, which isn't actually an opera. It's just an epic set in space. But he ran with it and he wrote a book called The 80-Minute Hour, which takes place after World War III on Earth. And it's about the various shenanigans they go through trying to rebuild. And in some parts, people actually sing their dialogue. And it's funny because it's in a book. And so what you're doing is you're actually reading songs for this space opera. I'm like, Mr. Aldis, that's commitment to the bit. So yes, Return of the Jedi is a space opera. I'm in. What about Star Trek the musical? I'm in. Zuplik says Beetlejuice is a high concept art film. Okie doke. I think. Maybe. Mike Silva says, what about National Lampoon's Vacation, Gary? Tracy says Falling Down as an opera. Again, why not? Number one dude says Brian Wilson, The Beach Boys. Okay. Mike Silva says Zuper, or the creepiest movie ever made, right? Oh, Night of Living Dead movie, 1968 classic. Was that the creepiest movie ever made? It's up there, but I don't know if it's the creepiest movie ever made. Gary Cameron says MS. It is a fair movie. I think it's better than fair, but I don't know if it's creepy. It's probably my favorite sci-fi horror film ever made. Superplex says Night Shift again. Superplex says it's impossible to top the classic Mike. Tracy Ross says Night Shift was hilarious. Now, I think there were two Night Shifts. There was one was Michael Keaton and Henry Winkler, which was a comedy about two guys who inadvertently become pimps. But there was a horror movie called Night Shifts, which takes place in a hospital, I believe. And I think he was talking about the horror movie, but correct me if I'm wrong. John Doe says Beetlejuice is as a found footage. That could work. Number one dude says Zuplex Night Shift, The Fawns, and Batman. Yeah, that's one of them. But there's another one I believe set in the hospital. Oh, Zuplex says the one with Batman dude. Okay, good. So it was the comedy. Tom says number one dude, get my phone number from T Pawns. Okay, if that's cool with you, Tom. Yeah, what I'll do is number one dude. I have your email address. I'll send Tom's phone number to you after the show. Number one dude says, Zuplex, I was thinking the comedy of the Ron Howard film. John Doe says Edward Scissorhands as a Rambo style movie. Ooh. Gary Carpenter says, has anyone seen the Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies? I've seen the first Mutant Turtle. I think I said the second one too. But I've seen the Batman as well. Lance Chavin says The Warriors is a musical. Oh, where you do it sort of more like a um oh, so ashamed of myself. Tonight. Uh, that one. The Jets and the Sharks. I can't believe one of the definitive musicals of all time. West Side Story. Oh, thank God, I was so ashamed. So more of a West Side Story situation. Yeah, I can see that. And now watch, like 17 people are going to say West Side Story. Danny Skeeton says Night Shift was a Stephen King about a giant rat in an old mill and some goofs. Oh, yes, it was. That's taken from his collection of short stories. Uh, wasn't that Graveyard Shifts? You mean Graveyard Shifts? Big Guys is back. Hi, I'm back. Number dudes at West Side Story. Thank you. But I got there eventually, didn't I? Oh, Big Guys is on his laptop now. Awesome. Mike Silva says the Yesterday Machine movie. I'm not familiar with that one. It sounds interesting. Suplex says, wasn't The Shining in the 80s? Yes, came out in 1980. Yeah, Mike Silva says The Yesterday Machine Pawns. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but Terrell Johnson says West Side Story. Yeah. I need to come to my aid. I'm embarrassed that I needed it, though. Oh, Bobby Renee says, Big Guys, checked you out. There you go. They're very, very fellowshipy of you. Zubik says they did a remake of West Side Story. Yes, and it tanked. Zubik says Dick Tracy, the Warren Beatty version. Bobby Renee says Warriors as a Star Wars movie. You know, why not? Because it's very high concept. I mean, it's really the Odyssey set in modern day New York. So, and that would, old Greek tragedy set very, very, very well in space because it's all about travelers and traveling and people on heroic voyages. So, yeah, I think that would work. I think that would work. Or Greece set in a fast food place. Dennis Keaton says, LOL isn't graveyard shift slang for a night shift. Yes, but I think the actual title, was Graveyard Shift, whereas the title of the other movie was Night Shift. But yes, the two are synonymous. What about a mix of Grease and West Side Story? You could very, very easily do that. Grease 2 with better music. Funny because James Remar is in both Warriors and Grease 2. So, holy cow! Speak of the devil, Retro Nerd Girl is in the house. Retro, very nice surprise you joining us. Yes, this was sort of a surprise live chat for me. Long story short, the restaurant I worked in is closed for renovations. I'd normally be working now. But since they're closed and I'm waiting for my unemployment to kick in, I thought I would do a surprise live chat. Oh, and by the way, we were talking about one of our friend of channels here in the comments was mentioning you have a live chat on the 11th. Many of us intend to be there. In fact, Danny, would you be nice enough to do a link to Retro Nerd Girl? So everyone knows where to go. Yeah, Danny's my resident mod and link master. Anyway, so nice to have you in the house. Mike Silva says not in the Comet movie. You know that's one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. Gary Carver says Thrasher. I thought Dick Tracy was great. Free country, man. I'm sorry. I didn't grok it. But to own their each. Danny Staten says Godfather Saga as a comedy. I thought it was. Retro Nerd Girl says again, hey, Thrash Bondapon's, hey to you. So glad you could make it. A lot of people saying hi to Retro Nerd Girl. You're always welcome here. And then for some reason, everything just jumped off the page. Big Guy 45 says, for some strange reason, when you're a mod on my laptop, other messages from other people don't pop up. That is odd. Mike Silva says, retro, seen Return of the Living Dead? Yes, Retro Nerd Girl, or RNG as I call you. What's your take on Return of the Living Dead? I'm sure you've seen it, but what's your take on it? Daryl Jones says, yeah, what about wrong? Well, I'm sorry. What was wrong with Dick Tracy? Madonna was even good in it. I don't know. I think it was a little kitschy, for my taste. When you do camp, you have to do it totally straight, in my opinion. And I thought you could tell Warren Beatty was sort of camping it up, if you know what I'm saying. But of course, when I saw it, I was in college, and I was in my I'm so above everything state. Perhaps I should see it again and give it another test with more mature eyes. But sorry if I stomped on anyone. Toesy Woesies. Zublik says Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Had its moments. Not my favorite of the trilogy, but it had its moments. John Doe says Bridge over the River Kwai as a sci-fi post-apocalyptic. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm all about revamping World War II stories. So yeah. Tom says, I missed out on getting autographs from the ladies of the Night of the Comet Rats. Wow, heartbreaker. I had a crush on both of them. Retro Girl saying hi to all the people saying hi to her. Number one dude says Platoon is a musical comedy. Mike Silva said, Retro Girl, just in case you're wondering what the heck people are talking about. The topic so far has sort of evolved into favorite 80s movies done as high concept, because the reboots, either you should do a remake of a movie or do a re-envisioning. And what the reboots have been doing lately is they do a slight revisioning where it's a little bit different, but not different enough to really shake the core of the film. So what we're doing is we're taking our favorite 80s films and rebooting them in an insane, crazy, off the rails kind of way, like Return of the Jedi as an opera, that situation. And we're having a lot of fun doing it, so please feel free to join in as I try to catch up to where we were. Les James says, what about Thrash Gordon, king of the stream, savior of the boring? Love it. Thrash! Oh, he's a miracle. Dilly Dan has given some more links. Retro Girl says, I saw Not Living Dead ages ago and vowed never to see it again because I'm afraid of zombies. Oh, you poor thing. Here we are. We're encouraging you to watch zombie movies and you don't like zombies. Sorry. Disregard. Patton is a musical. Okay. Why not? We'll just see. Retro Nerd Girl. Somebody's saying something. I'll come in again. Oh yeah, she's super scared of zombies. Sorry. Mike Silva says, Retro Nerd Girl, if you can handle that movie, don't watch Killdozer. Zublik mentions Cliffhanger. Lynn Straven says, Demolition Man, which one? Zublik says, Flash Gordon, and this time better. Again, I liked the Flash Gordon. I didn't love it, but I liked it. But same problem. They decided to do it camp, and I have nothing wrong with camp. I think some of the best movies are campy. But when you do camp, you have to play it really, really straight. Once you let on that you're sort of joking while you're doing it, and it's a lampoon, a farce, it loses something. It goes off the rail. It becomes a prolonged Saturday Night Live sketch where everybody's breaking the fourth wall and giggling to themselves, which is fun, but it's not camp. It's a pantomime, and I'm going really off the rails here with my nomenclature. Bobby Renee says, "Oh, nerd girl, would you be afraid of me? I'm her zombie." Oh, that's cute. I think. I don't know. Retro Nerd Girl says, "Zombie snakes and spiders. Oh my!" Funny you mentioned the oh my. By the way, one of the ways we came in here is I was talking about if I had a budget to make like a real like movie. I've always wanted to do Wizard of Oz as a post-apocalyptic film where Dorothy is living with her aunt and uncle after a catastrophic event. Their home gets raided. She goes off into the woods trying to get to the Emerald City and meets up with post-apocalyptic versions of the Scarecrow, a guy who's very emaciated, hence the Scarecrow bit. A former cop, the Tin Man, and a guy who's gone feral and has PTSD, the Cowardly Lion. And hilarity will ensue. And that's kind of how this whole thing started up. Gary Carpenter says Rambo was a starfighter. That sounds fun. John Doe says Buck Rogers in the 25th century, but it's Thrash Pondo in the 24th and three-quarters century as a buddy movie with Dave. I am all over it. I love buddy movies. That's another one, by the way. I want to do the Epic of Gilgamesh as a buddy movie where him and Enkidu go off and have adventures. Enkidu, the wild man. Yeah, Enkidu. Retro Nerd Girl says no one can top Buster Crab though. No, you are so right. You are so right. Last Man Standing. How many versions of that has there been? Dennis Keaton says deja vu. Yeah, sometimes I have to repeat myself for guests who show up late. And I'm sure people who watch this and rewatch saying, "Oh my God, how many times is he going to tell us this high concept story of his?" Well, maybe a couple. Lance Chafin says Godzilla the comedy. Kenny Wilkins says, "Good night, everyone." Ken, so glad you could make it. Thank you for joining us. It's been aces having you. Tom says, Retro Nerd Girl met Buster Crab back in '79 when I was 13. Wasn't that he? Didn't he do a small part on Buck Rogers as Commander Gordon? Correct me if I'm wrong. Mike Silva says the Garbage Pail movie, Retro Nerd Girl. Gary Cameron says Super Godzilla. Denny Seaton says, wasn't that the sci-fi movie called Tin Man? Hey Pawns, they stole your idea. There's a bell ringing in my head. You might be onto something there. But as Orson Welles once said, stealing from each other is fine. It's when we steal from ourselves we should be ashamed. Retro Nerd Girl says Escape from New York was amazing. I absolutely loved that movie. And not just for the whole adventure concept, and Kurt Russell was amazing in it. It was the ensemble cast. I think everyone was at the top of their game in that movie. Ernest Borgnine stole the film. Donald Pleasance as the cowardly president was great. Adrian Barbeau was great. Just everyone. Duke of New York, played by the guy who played Chef in uh, South Park. Oh, I'm so ashamed I can't think of his name. I'm looking like a shot when I heard it, but he's great too. Um, just the ensemble cast was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I love Escape from New York. Zublik says message retracted. Yes, and a message retracted to you as well, by the way. Zublik says, you know who is not here is John Collins. Yes, I noticed that too, actually. Did I jump again? No, I missed a few. Lance Craven says Lost Boys that were never found. Number one dude says DC Cab the drama. 23 Rose Mine says Mothra was my favorite. I actually saw that as a Fathom event not too long ago. Zublik says Gremlins. That's a great one. Gary Carpenter says Muppets doing Star Trek or Star Wars. And Retro says no creepy puppets. John Doe says The Terminator is an after school special about drugs. Why not? Lance Chafin, Isaac Hayes. Thank you. That was killing me. It's Isaac Hayes. Um, he was absolutely amazing. Oh, and Lee Van Cleef. Lee Van Cleef is the bad guy. Yeah, I think just everyone was at the top of their game in that. Oh, and Dennis Dayton has given us a link to the Tin Man trailer. Well, that's just one part of the concept of my anyway. Yeah, it probably wouldn't work. Nothing I try to do ever does. Oh, woe is me. Boo hoo. Pity party for Bob. Zublik says another Xanadu, but this time better. Well, you could hardly be worse. We'll do a Xanadu instead of a Xana don't. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. You know what? The problem with Xanadu is, I guess, conceptually, I guess when you saw it on paper, I guess it worked great. It was, let's take those old um, Busby Berkeley, yeah, why not? Musicals from the 30s and 40s and combine it with sort of 80s disco roller rink era entertainment, combine the two, put in Olivia Newton John, add a love story, make it high concept. I mean, it was all there. It just didn't work. John Doe says Oklahoma as a cannibal slasher? People will say we're in love? I don't even think that's the right movie. But anyway, yeah, people will say we're in love. Oh, well, I'll go with it. Tom says, gotta get a burrito from next door. You live next door to a burrito stand? Okay. Zublik says, Selma and Louise the musical. Doing a lot of musicals tonight, aren't we? Gary Carpenter says, Mary Poppins as a detective. All right, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Number one dude says, Nightmare on Elm Street as a love story. Sounds a little creepy, but then it's Nightmare on Elm Street, isn't it? Daryl Johnson says Kurt Russell didn't do a bad impression of Clint Eastwood in Escape from New York. No, he didn't actually. I thought it was a very nice homage. He didn't do it too over the top. I mean, if you tried to do Clint Eastwood too hard, you end up sounding like Ronald Reagan. Oh, and one of the little tidbit when he has that the truck full of nuts, when he's trying to avoid getting eaten by the crazies, that woman who tries to convince him to take her along was his wife at the time. Little tidbit of info there. Retro Nerd Girl says I love Xanadu, but I love a few good Baz films. They make me smile. I've been stomping on people's toes left and right tonight. So if I stomped on a movie that you liked, in this case, I was going to do bear with me. Sometimes my film review uppityness gets the better of me. But again, I'm wrong a lot. Oh, and by the way, as you say, I love a lot of movies that are terrible. I love a lot of movies that people absolutely hate. And trust me, they love bashing on. My wife loves bashing on the movies I love. So, but again, thank you for taking in the spirit. It was intended as. The guy from it, and again, I'm having a Bob moment again. The guy from the Warriors, who played Swan. He talked about how the Warriors opened all these doors for them, and Xanadu slammed them all shut. He had trouble getting work after Xanadu. Lance Javen says He-Man and Skeletor, the love story. Okay. Number one dude says Snake Plissken. I heard you were dead. Zubik says Darkman as a comedy. Number one dude says Zubik Sam Raimi film sort of comedy weaved in the film. Dennis Keaton says, "Ooh, I got a Cheech and Chong versus the Evil Dead." Wowzers, that would be fun. That would be fun. Zublik says Grease 2 with better songs. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Tracy says Pink Flamingos has a serious drama. That's the weird thing. That's the weird thing about those Divine movies. Um, is that they actually worked. He did them in a very lowbrow, trashy kind of way, but they worked. So you could probably do them in a much different setting, and they would still hold water. So yeah, I'll buy that. Garrett Gabbard says Space Ghost is a live action movie. Okay. John Waters. Divine was the actress in a lot of them. John Waters was the director, writer, filmmaker, creator, and all that sort of rot. Mike Silva says terrible classic movie from the 70s. It's called Supervan. I think I saw that on USA Up all night. Zuplik says remake Streets of Fire, an underrated film. I love Streets of Fire. In fact, I was rocking out. I was going to the grocery store today, and I Can Dream About You came on the radio, and I was like, I can dream about you. And Lance Chapin says Michael Beck. Yes, Michael Beck played Swan. And I don't know why Streets of Fire. I think the problem with Streets of Fire, I don't think it was marketed particularly well when it came out, and it was also high concept because people didn't know. It was designed. It was almost like an alternate universe. As I tell people, I go, it looks like everybody walked out of a Hopper painting. So I think a lot of people thought Streets of Fire was like some weird retro, like 50s doo-wop setting, and it wasn't. It was more of almost like an alternate universe type situation. But I thought it was great, and of course I had such a crush on Diane Lane. And the rest of the cast as well. I don't know. Deborah Valkenburg was great. Anyway, skipping down. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a dark comedy. It already is. Zublik says The Outsiders again. The Outsiders maybe, but I would actually do That Was Then, This Is Now, and I would actually set it as a sequel to The Outsiders. They made a That Was Then, This Is Now, and they set it in modern day, and it is so completely and totally out of context. It loses everything, I thought. That Was Then, This Is Now was one of my favorite books as a kid when I was doing that whole coming of age book reading thing that all middle schoolers go through. That one was my favorite. And again, not setting it during the 60s just blew it for me. Retro Nerd Girl says, how about then she trailed off. Very zen of you. Tracy says, I thought he was in Crybaby Dude. Matt Dillon? Skipping back. Oh, 70s movies, zombie flesh eaters. No zombies. Remember, we decided we are going to stick away from zombies for the moments. Dude says I think that was Johnny Depp. Yes, it was Johnny Depp. Ziplik says the lonely guy was Steve Martin again. Number one dude says I can dream about you. Mike Silva says mean pawns. I'm so sorry if I was being mean. I'll try to stick to be my normal lovable self. Tracy says, LOL, I'm out of it. No worries, no worries. Skipping down. Ziplik says Miami Heat. Danny Stain says, I'll be back. We'll be here. Gary Carpenter says, I'd love to see a Doc Savage remake. Okay, doke. Ziplik says Charles Grodin, number one dude. Someone else mentioned Charles Grodin earlier, but I'm not sure in which context. Number one dude says That Was Then, This Is Now with Estevez. Yeah, that was the one. It was. They said it in present day, and I don't know why they did that. There's even a scene where the kid gets attacked but instead of the greasers, he's attacked by punk rockers, and I don't know why. I don't know why they decided to set it in present day. They didn't make it any more culturally relevant. In fact, I thought the nostalgia thing worked for those books because it was trying to show you that adolescents go through the same stages. So it was interesting to know that things my father went through were the things that I went through. Say, but what do I know? Again, that was in. This is now. It wasn't a bad movie. I just wish they had kept it the same concept. John Doe says Abbott Costello meet the Evil Dead. I'm all over that. Mike Silva says Last House on the Left. That's a sad one. It's actually based on a Swedish film, which is based on an old legend, if I remember correctly. Number one dude says, I know, I think we are all mixing and mashing stuff. Yes, we are. But again, that's a lot of ways they make movies these days. It's, in fact, when you do a pitch for a movie, you'll say that. You'll be like, it's sort of John Wayne meets Godzilla, or Abbott and Costello meet The Hills Have Eyes, or it's sort of Avatar meets Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. So, Lance Javen says zombies are a dead issue, I guess. Richard Negro says that's so kind, but you can definitely talk about zombies and the movies. I need to know which movies to avoid. LOL. Very well, very well. Remake of the '80s, but making them high concept films, Mike. Oh, apparently someone was asking what the heck we were doing. Trinity says, "Was Grodin in Heaven Can Wait?" I don't, I can't remember. I haven't seen that movie probably since I was in high school. Tom says, "I've seen it." Time Machine. Which Time Machine? 80s Hot Tub Time Machine, or The Time Machine, or the remake of The Time Machine? Well, let us know. John H is with us. John H, how you doing? John H says, Thrash and all. I just found the notification for this. I figure you're shutting down in a few minutes. What time is it? Oh, give it about another half. Give it about another half hour. Probably. Right now we're talking. And again, I'm going to repeat myself. We were talking about how on these live chats I tend to repeat myself because I try to catch people up into what we're doing tonight. And tonight, what we're doing is, I'll repeat myself again for you. Take 80s movies that you'd like to see rebooted, but instead of just a normal reboot, go off the rails with it. The concept is if you could do Return of the Jedi as an opera. So pick your favorite 80s movies and what the wildest reboot of that could possibly be. Zublik says, The Man with Two Brains, but this time with more nudity. Sicko. John Doe says, the Dead End Kids and the Warriors in a Battle Royale fight. The Warriors would win. They're the best. Although the Dead End Kids would put up one heck of a fight. Weird Science is a thriller. Bobby Renee, that's a good one. Wow, I've caught up again for the moment. Daryl John says Martin Lewis team up in The Exorcist. The bed is on my foot. The Ben is on my foot. John Doe says, anyone Parch Pawns? No, but why not? Refreshing. Retro Nerd Girl says Gary Carpenter. That's a good one. Les Javen says Pacific Rim versus the Transformers. Ooh, that is a good one. That is a good one. But of course, then just do Neon Genesis Evangelion, which they've been talking about for years. Gary Carpenter says Transformers versus Shogun Warriors. I'm with it. Zublik says, what's wrong with nudity? Nothing. I'm just trying to embarrass you. You embarrass me all the time and love it. John H says Back to the Future is a great 80s movie, but I don't know what to do with it. Maybe it could use Biff's 46 Ford. Well, in this case, what you would do is you would do Back to the Future, but in this case, Marty is a villain fleeing justice, and he goes back in time to cover his crime and make it a psychological science fiction thriller. That's the best I can do on such short notice. Gary Cameron says, Z, it leaves me cold. Number one dude says, Enemy Mine meets Iron Eagle. I don't know how Louis Gossett Jr. could play two characters at the same time. Well, you probably wouldn't even notice because one of them is in heavy makeup. I did love Enemy Mine. Speaking of World War II stories as a high concept, it's basically Hell in the Pacific as a science fiction buddy movie. Very sad too. I remember seeing that when I was in high school and being actually touched by it. I thought the chemistry between the two of them worked very, very well. Actually, Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. I thought worked very, very well together. John H says, I started watching Thrash and ENC SNL video. Not done with it yet. I haven't watched it at all, by the way. I didn't even know it was posted. I thought he wasn't posting it till tomorrow. Superlook says, Child's Play is an Ingmar Bergman film. Oh, I love it. I love it. John H says, not bad, Thrash, thank you. John Doe says, Mad Max as a suburban comedy. I thought it was. Zublik says a real life Little Mermaid. They did that. I thought. I thought the new Little Mermaid that's coming out is live action. Gary Carpenter says Chucky and Annabelle. Make it a love triangle because Chucky does have a girlfriend. That could work. That could work. Tracy says Trading Places meets Bernie Madoff. Love it. Love it. Lance Chavin says Jet Jaguar versus Johnny Socko. I'm on. I'm with it. I'm with it. Daily Dan is back. He had to switch technologies. Yeah, other phone battery died. I'm with you. I'm with you. Zublik says, good idea, Tracy. Very good idea. Gary Gardner says Ultraman versus Jet Jaguar. I love it. Zublik says Platoon, but with lesbian warriors. Okay. Les Javen says Iron Eagle versus Iron Man. I am Iron Eagle. Zublik says they are making The Little Mermaid. I thought it's canned. It just hasn't been released. I thought it was due to be released this summer. But maybe they are just making it. I forget. But my wife said something about how they are making a new one. Or I thought I'd made one. Bobby Renee says Zoo. Yes, starring Emily. Zoo? The new Zoo review? Number one dude said Weekend at Porky's instead of Weekend at Bernie's. Okay. Tracy says you should hear Bill Shatner's version of Iron Man. It's hilarious. You're kidding me. You are kidding me. I am Iron Man. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Escape from Alcatraz with 90-year-old Clint. Yeah. You'll never keep me behind bars for life. Number one dude says there's something on the wing. One of the funniest bits they ever did in Third Rock from the Sun, because of course Shatner plays their leader, and Shatner shows up on Earth to see how they're doing, and whatever the leader's name is, John Lithgow, whatever the leader's name is in the show, he asks how was your trip, and he goes, well, it was the oddest thing. There was something on the wing the whole time we were coming out here. And Lithgow goes, I had the same experience. And my mind was like, because, of course, John Lithgow did that scene in the 1984 rendition of Twilight Zone, and originally done in the original Twilight Zone TV series by William Shatner. So it was just like, oh my God, it's like they took an entire show and built it around that concept. But yeah. Trey says you can find it on YouTube really easy. It's funny as hell. Yeah, man, it would be. Les Jamin says Tombstone, the Frozen Pizza Wars. I love it. I love it. With, of course, the Red Baron. Love it. Love it. Gary Carpenter says Rudolph meets Bambi. I'm all over that. Zublik says that was hilarious, T-Pawns. Well, thank you, Zuber. I crave positive reinforcement. Tom Lungy Trick says Jerry Mouses was the mayor of City of Industry in California. Clint Eastwood was a mayor too for a while. Carmel? Hormel? Sing you well. Very well. Polly Wally Doodle. I'm going to stop there. John Doe says Gigantor and Frankenstein Jr. as Buddy Cop. Oh, I am all about it. About it. Retro Nerd Girl says, I would love to see an updated Excalibur with the pomp and grandeur of the 80s film and comic book style of 300. They clash, but a true artish could make it epic. Wow. You must know Excalibur is one of my favorite high fantasy films of all time. And to do it in that sort of um, Frank Miller style would be outstanding. The only thing bad about it is Nicole Williamson is no longer with us, so he couldn't reprise his role as Merlin. But from what I understand, he was a horrible person in real life. An associate of mine, somebody I'm actually going to see the Ghidorah movie with in a local Cape Theater in a couple weeks. He actually worked in a high-end market and wine shop out in California, and said Nicole Williams was absolutely miserable to him on at least one occasion. But it's still sad that he's not with us, and very sad that he couldn't play Merlin. But I am all over. If someone could do that, that would be outstanding. Johnny says Lithgow's character was Dick Solomon. Thank you very, very, very much. Bobby Renee says Airplane is a thriller. That would work amazing. It really would. Number one dude says Shatner and Lithgow. That's funny. It was it really was. It was like amazing. Johnny says most episodes had Dick in the title for the character. Zublik says Flashdance with Taylor Swift. No. No, 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 no. Flashdance is perfect the way it was. Mean. Gary Carpenter says Adam's Family, the Monsters go on vacation together. All about it. That would work great. That would work great. Bewitched meets Genie. High concept. Love it. Zublik says Officer and Gentleman, but this time it's a gentle woman. Okay. John Doe says Alpha's gothic horror. I love it. The color, hey, the color out of space. Oh, you kill me. Shredder Ross Myers says Heavy Metal meets Yellow Submarine. Would you have to be on hallucinogenics when you watched it? I don't know if you had to, but it sounds fun. John H says Nicole Williamson played a murderer on Columbo. So did Shatner. Shatner went through a phase where he played bad guys like a lot. Gary Carter says Batman, Doc Savage, Green Hornet, and Sherlock Holmes. Lance Javen says The Planet of the Monkeys. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys. Daryl Johnson says OMG Tracy. Oh my, William Shatner, Iron Man. It's really bad. I love it. Zublik says Songs of the Lambs as a hilarious comedy. Good luck with that. Number one dude says, Hey, Willie! Hey, Kate! Alf, what are those? Deep fried peanut butter banana sandwiches. Elvis loved them. He could eat 20 a day. And you think he's still alive? Darrell Johnson says, I thought it was David. You thought what was David? Oh, David Solomon. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Number one dude says Lost Boys in the Hood. I'm with you. I'm with you. Mike Silva says, bye, Pawns. Mike, thank you so much for joining us tonight, by the way. Be good, be safe, be careful. I'll see you really, really soon. And thanks for all your help and support on the channel. Really appreciate it. Gary Carpenter says, Scooby-Doo gang on the Yellow Submarine. Love it. Love it. Retro says, I love your idea. Yes, Tracy, we all love your idea. Great idea. Tracy says, Daryl, isn't it funny? John Doe says, on a serious note, did you know that space smells like burnt steak? Don't ask me how I know that. I just know. Burnt steak. Are aliens having a barbecue? And what are they barbecuing? It's people! It's people! Sorry. Let's just see. Gary Cameron says, Thrasher, you got that voice down pat. Thanks, I've had 30 plus years to practice. Number one dude says, Alf, great intro song. Lance Chafin says, the pirate movie about illegal movies. Oh, yes. In fact, remember ages ago tonight, we were talking about Amazon Women on the Moon? One of the best bits about that is the video pirates. And there are guys that sell pirated movies. The show's so far back it goes. I actually had a friend who I wouldn't say made a living, but he made some walking around money. He had a setup where he would make pirated movies and sell them at a per diem, and it was actually a thing back in the 80s. And you would take movies and make illegal copies and sell them at a cheaper rate than the stores. But it's a very funny segment in Amazon Women. Of course, no one would understand it these days. But yes, I'm with you. I'm with you. Zuplik says King of the Gypsies, the first movie starring Eric Roberts. I know he was like just out of his teens, I believe. Tom says I'm still here, as are we all. Keithy says space smells like Sizzler. That's great. Teresa Rosmeyer says to serve man, Robert. Yeah, you saw where I was going. You were picking up what I was laying down. Yeah, you were with the where the were. Yeah. Dilly Done the Good Stuff says Neil Armstrong said that his spacesuit smelled like charcoal after his moonwalk. Crazy, man. But Renee says hungry. Maybe the mods can change that. Oh, wow. Snap. Tom says there are a few Sizzlers in California. I've never actually been to a Sizzlers, actually. Crazy. John Doe says Yogurt of the High Seas, a movie about pirates. Yogurt pirates? Okay, why not? Gary Carpenter says Space Stars and Super Friends. Okay. Number dude says I like the Seinfeld episode where Kramer's buddy records the bootlegs. Um, no, what he would do is this people used to do this. You take two VCRs, right? You take the ingoing from one, you take the output to the outgoing of the other, string it through to a television, hit play. As the first VCR plays, you hit record on the second one, and it records a videotape. Now, they used to do something called copy protection, which would prevent you from doing this, but there were little tricks you could do to override that. But what you would really do is you would just take one tape and make another tape from it, and do similar things when DVD came out. Of course, there's no need for that now. People just stream. You don't even need the software. But yes, people would occasionally go into the theater with a handheld camera and literally just record the movie. Those never came out particularly well, but considering you could get the movie out before the home video did, there was always a bit of a market for it. Sometimes unscrupulous, and I don't know if anyone did this personally, but unscrupulous camera operators in cinemas would actually set up a tripod in the booth and record the movie while it was going. But again, that was buku illegal. That was a no. Zublik says Creep Show with Adrian Barbeau reprising a role, but this time as a mass murderer. We had that conversation once before about how there was a Twisted Tales that was very similar to that, where the murders were being blamed on a creature, but it turned out there was no creature. The person was the mass murderer, but in their mind, they were coping with their murders by saying that they got the monster to do it. So yeah, why not? Why not? Gary Carpenter says Young Sentinels and Super Friends. That could work. Lance Stevenson zapped a very shocking movie. You could say it was shockingly expensive. Number one dude says Zuplex is that with Hal Holbrook. Yes, he plays the friend. It's Fritz Weaver or David Gale that plays the husband, the professor that's married to Adrian Barbeau. One of them mixed up, and I don't. Hal Holbrook is his friend. They played chess together. Zublik says, "Oh, Holbrook is married to Adrian Barbeau. The other professor is the one who discovers the creature." Zublik says, "Blue Velvet as a comedy. I thought it was. She wore." And John H says, "I used to dub programs for trade that way." Johnny says two VCRs, one on the other. Yeah, a lot of people did. Kind of a no-no, but a lot of people did it back 40 years. I never did it personally. No, but I know a few people who did. Tracy says, like Lynch movies, Valve, it was great. Number one dude says, I did that, but with two beta machines. Wow, you're going way back. Gary Carpenter says, I've seen a double VCR. Yeah, but they used to set the double machines. The record option wouldn't function while the other one was in play. That was the problem. They actually had dual players, but you couldn't tape one off the other. The record option was off TV only, and even that, supposedly, a lot of network TV people said that's illegal. You're recording our content, so we don't want you to be able to record stuff off the television either. Yeah. But yeah, those double players. If I remember correctly, we're going back over 30 years, but the record option would not work off the other VHS player for whatever reason. Gee, we're getting towards. I'm buffering too. We're getting towards that time, folks. It's almost 10 o'clock. Boy, doesn't the time fly when we're having fun. So yeah, so tell you what, I think we're probably gonna wrap things up here. A few more things going on. Like I say, because my restaurant is closed, I'm gonna have some more time off for the next month or so. As a result of which, I'm going to try to get more content out. I'm going to try to master this new technology. I'm going to try to do a bunch of things, but I'm also going to try to do um, more live chats. Um, Ian and I do have one coming up this Monday. Um, and so but that doesn't count. Like I'm going to have my normal Thursday night live chat and probably at least one other night during the week. Not trying to get in anybody's way. Apparently, Dave doesn't have anything live next week. I don't think Pat does. Now, Retro, again, yours is on the 11th, right? Please let us know in the comments what time, because I know Wild Horses couldn't keep me away, and I'm sure a lot of people here would like to see it as well. But in any event, for right now, I will leave you with this. I'm probably going to have the Richard recap up tomorrow, Monday morning on the outside. Until then, be good, be safe, be careful. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, 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 very soon. Peace.